Have you ever wondered what not to give away to your children when you retire? It might be harder than you think. As we enter retirement, many of us start to downsize and declutter. But what you decide to pass on to your children can make a big difference in their lives, and not always in a good way. In today's video, we're going to talk about 11 things you should never pass on to your children when you retire. From sentimental heirlooms to outdated documents, I'll share why some things are better kept to yourself. Stick around to learn how to make wise, thoughtful decisions about your legacy and avoid leaving behind unnecessary burdens for your family. 1. Family heirlooms. Family heirlooms hold a special place in the hearts of many elderly people. These items, whether it's an antique necklace, a vintage clock, or a piece of furniture passed down through generations, are more than just objects. They carry memories, stories, and emotional value that make them irreplaceable. For seniors, these heirlooms represent a connection to their past, their loved ones, and the history of their family. It's often hard to let go of something that has been part of their life for decades, and there's a deep attachment to preserving them for future generations. However, what seniors may not realize is that these sentimental items often don't have the same meaning for younger generations. Children or grandchildren may see them as mere objects or outdated relics that take up space. The emotional connection just isn't there for them, and they might not fully appreciate the value these heirlooms hold. This can lead to a difficult reality. What you hold dear might not be cherished in the same way by the ones you hope to pass them on to. This disconnection can cause problems when it comes time to pass on these family treasures. There's a real risk that these items, instead of being preserved for future generations, could be sold, discarded, or forgotten. Children who may not have the emotional attachment to these objects could either not understand their significance or not want to deal with them, seeing them as burdensome clutter. In the worst case, they could end up at a yard sale or auction, far from the safe hands of those who would truly appreciate their heritage. Another concern is the practical aspect of family heirlooms. These items may not be suitable for modern homes or lifestyles. A heavy, ornate china set may no longer be practical for younger families who have adopted simpler, more functional styles of living. Older furniture or silverware may not fit into their tastes or needs, making it easy to overlook their sentimental value. While you may see them as treasures, to your children, they could simply be seen as space fillers they don't have room for. So before passing on your family heirlooms, it's important to have a conversation with your children about their value, both emotional and historical. Instead of just handing them over, consider sharing the stories behind each item and explaining why they are important. This way, your legacy can be passed on not just through the object itself, but through the meaning and memories attached to it. 2. Your personal financial documents. When it comes to retirement, one of the most important things to consider is how you handle your personal financial documents. These include anything from bank statements, investment records, and insurance policies to retirement plans and personal debt information. Keeping this financial information secure and private is crucial, not only for your own peace of mind, but also to protect your family from potential risks like identity theft or fraud. If these documents are not managed carefully, they could fall into the wrong hands and cause significant problems down the road. The first reason why you should never pass on personal financial documents without careful planning is privacy. Your financial details are deeply personal and sensitive, and sharing them too early or without proper safeguards can open the door to misuse. For instance, if a child or family member has access to your banking information before it's time, they may inadvertently make decisions that could negatively impact your finances or their own. Even well-meaning family members may not have the knowledge or understanding of your financial strategies, leading to unnecessary mistakes or confusion. It's also important to recognize that financial matters are complex and sometimes need careful timing. For example, It's often best to wait until the right moment to pass on retirement plans, estate documents, or financial decisions to your children. If you give them access to these documents too early, they may not have the experience to make informed choices. Financial documents also need to be updated regularly as your situation changes. Keeping your documents organized in a secure system helps ensure that everything stays up to date for both you and your family when the time is right. Rather than simply handing over your financial documents to your children, it's wise to create a trusted system for managing these affairs. A clear will, a power of attorney, and even an appointed financial advisor can help make the transition smooth when you can no longer manage your finances yourself. By involving professionals and ensuring your children understand the process and the importance of confidentiality, you can create a framework that allows them to step in at the right time without jeopardizing your assets or security. Lastly, having these financial documents organized and stored securely is essential for both your own safety and your family's future. Consider using digital tools like encrypted files or secure cloud storage to keep your information private but accessible when needed. You could also use physical storage options like a safe or safety deposit box to ensure that these critical documents are not only secure, but also easily accessible when it's time for your children to take over your affairs. Having a solid plan for passing these documents down will ensure that your family can navigate your finances responsibly when the time comes. 3. Aging pets. As we grow older, many of us form deep, loving bonds with our pets. These animals become cherished companions, providing comfort and joy throughout the years. However, when it comes time for us to retire, we may face the difficult reality of caring for aging pets who require more attention, medical care, and sometimes special accommodations. While it's natural to want to keep these loyal companions in our lives, passing on the responsibility for their care to our children may not be the best decision, especially if the pets are nearing the end of their lives. Caring for an elderly pet can be a significant responsibility. As pets age, they often experience a decline in health that requires regular visits to the vet, medications, special diets, and sometimes physical therapy. This can be emotionally and financially draining, especially for those who are already managing their own retirement and health. While you may be fully prepared to give your aging pet the love and care they deserve, it's important to consider whether your children are in a position to take on that responsibility when you can no longer do so. The reality is that your children might not have the time, energy, or resources to care for an aging pet. Many of them may already have families of their own, busy careers, or even health concerns that make it difficult to add the care of a pet to their plates. The stress of managing a pet's declining health, along with the emotional weight of making difficult decisions about their well-being, can place a burden on your children that they may not be ready for. It can be unfair to assume that they will step in without considering their own circumstances. Additionally, pets in their final years may have specific needs that require careful attention. Some elderly pets may struggle with mobility, incontinence, or cognitive decline, which can make their care even more demanding. It's not just about feeding and walking them, it's about providing them with the comfort and quality of life they deserve in their final days. This kind of care demands patience and emotional resilience, things that might be hard to ask of your children, especially if they already have busy lives of their own. Before you consider passing on your pet to your children, it's essential to evaluate whether they are truly equipped to handle the responsibility. If they are willing and able, having an open conversation about the level of care your pet requires is crucial. However, if it seems like a burden, it might be worth looking into alternatives, such as finding a trusted pet care service or a family member who is more prepared to take on the role. Ultimately, the well-being of your pet should be your top priority, and it's important to make sure they are in the best hands possible during their final years. 4. Unpaid debts or bills. One of the most important aspects of preparing for retirement is ensuring that all of your financial obligations are settled. Leaving behind unpaid debts or bills for your children to manage can cause unnecessary stress and complications for them after you're gone. Unresolved financial obligations, whether it's credit card debt, medical bills, or outstanding loans, can lead to long-lasting consequences, not only for your financial legacy, but also for your family's peace of mind. Your children may find themselves burdened with the responsibility of paying off these debts, which could lead to financial hardship and tension within the family. The impact of leaving behind unpaid debts can extend far beyond just the immediate financial strain. If debts are not properly managed, they could affect your children's credit scores or create legal complications. For example, if you have outstanding medical bills or personal loans, creditors may try to collect from your estate, and your children may have to deal with the fallout of trying to settle these debts. This can be emotionally draining for your family and can cause friction between loved ones, especially if the debts are substantial or involve complicated legal matters. Before retiring, it's essential to take a hard look at your financial situation and make a plan to clear any outstanding debts. One of the first steps is to create a budget and assess how much you owe to different creditors. Whether it's small personal loans or larger debts like mortgages or car loans, making a commitment to pay them off during your retirement years will give you the peace of mind knowing that your children won't inherit your financial troubles. This proactive approach will also help you preserve your retirement savings, allowing you to enjoy your golden years without the constant worry of mounting debt. Another key strategy is to consider consolidating or refinancing loans to make them more manageable. If you have multiple debts with varying interest rates, consolidating them into one loan with a lower interest rate can make it easier to pay them off faster. Additionally, setting up automatic payments or working with a financial advisor can help ensure that all bills are paid on time, reducing the risk of late fees or negative marks on your credit report. This approach will allow you to focus on enjoying your retirement without the looming burden of unpaid debts. Finally, it's important to regularly review your financial situation and make sure that any debt obligations are settled before passing on your estate. If you're unable to fully pay off everything before retirement, having a clear plan in place, such as a life insurance policy or a trust, can help cover any remaining debts. This ensures that your children aren't left with the responsibility of sorting through unresolved financial matters. By addressing your debts proactively and making arrangements to clear them, you are protecting your family from unnecessary stress and ensuring a smoother transition as you move into your retirement years. 5. Broken appliances and furniture. When it comes time to downsize or pass along items to your children, one category to be cautious about is broken appliances and worn-out furniture. While it's natural to want to leave a piece of your past behind, old, damaged possessions can be more of a burden than a gift. A broken refrigerator, an outdated washing machine, or furniture that's seen better days might not hold the sentimental value you think it does. In fact, these items can become sources of frustration and stress for your children, who might feel obligated to fix or replace them. It's much better to pass down functional, high-quality items that have longevity and will serve them well for years to come. Old, worn-out furniture or malfunctioning appliances can take up valuable space in your children's homes, only to end up being discarded or replaced. Rather than leaving them with items that have limited use, consider whether the items you wish to pass down are truly practical. Functional appliances that still work efficiently, or durable furniture pieces that can fit into modern living spaces, are far more valuable than broken-down items that require significant time and money to repair. In the long run, it's the well-maintained and useful possessions that your children will appreciate and find truly valuable. Furthermore, your children may not have the resources or desire to repair these items. If you pass down a refrigerator that's on its last leg or a chair with a broken leg, your children may feel burdened with the responsibility of either fixing them or replacing them entirely. This can lead to unnecessary stress, especially if your children are on a tight budget or simply don't have the time to invest in repairs. By passing on items that are still functional and in good condition, you're sparing them from dealing with these issues and giving them possessions that can enhance their lives instead of adding to their problems. Leaving your children with meaningful, usable belongings ensures that they have items that will serve a practical purpose in their own homes. High-quality, durable items that they can use in their daily lives are far more valuable than things that just sit around collecting dust or taking up space. This thoughtful approach also helps prevent any unnecessary emotional or financial burden, as your children won't have to feel guilty about discarding or replacing items that aren't up to par. Instead, they'll be able to cherish and use the things you pass on, knowing that they were both useful and carefully chosen for their needs. In addition, passing down functional items that have longevity provides an opportunity to leave behind a legacy of quality and thoughtfulness. Rather than simply getting rid of old stuff, consider selecting items that reflect your taste, values, and the way you lived. These possessions can become meaningful heirlooms in their own right, passed down through generations to come without the risk of being discarded or forgotten. It's a much more rewarding way to ensure that your belongings continue to serve a purpose long after you're gone. 6. Your health problems. When we reach retirement age, it's natural to experience some health challenges. However, one of the most considerate things you can do for your children is to avoid burdening them with your personal health problems. Poor health can place significant emotional and physical strain on your children, especially if they are suddenly tasked with becoming your primary caregivers. While it's natural for children to want to help, expecting them to manage your healthcare needs can create a difficult dynamic and potentially lead to feelings of resentment or frustration. It's important to recognize that your children also have their own lives to lead, and adding health-related responsibilities may overwhelm them. The emotional toll of taking care of an aging parent with chronic illness or frequent medical issues can be substantial. For many children, the desire to care for their parents stems from love and respect, but it can quickly turn into an overwhelming responsibility. If your health issues require constant attention, medical appointments, or complicated treatments, your children may find themselves stretched thin, balancing caregiving duties with their own personal and professional lives. This added stress can have a negative impact on their own mental and emotional well-being, making it even harder for them to be there for you in the way that you may hope. Physically, the demands of caregiving can be exhausting, especially if your health problems limit your mobility or require frequent hands-on assistance. Tasks like helping with bathing, dressing, or managing medication can take a toll on your children's physical health as well. Over time, this can lead to burnout or health issues of their own, which only compounds the situation. By failing to plan for your healthcare needs ahead of time, you risk creating an unsustainable situation where your children are stretched beyond their limits and unable to provide the support you truly need. Encouraging proper self-care and planning for healthcare needs in retirement is an essential part of preparing for the future. Instead of relying on your children to provide day-to-day care, consider planning ahead by setting up healthcare arrangements or long-term care insurance that can provide the support you need without burdening your family. This might include exploring options like in-home care, adult daycare services, or assisted living facilities that can step in when necessary. Taking the time to research and implement these resources will not only help you manage your health, but will also allow your children to continue to be part of your life without becoming overwhelmed by your needs. Ultimately, planning for your health needs before they become urgent can make a huge difference in how your retirement years unfold. It allows your children to maintain their roles as your loved ones rather than your caretakers. By creating a strategy for managing your healthcare in retirement, you ensure that your children won't be faced with difficult choices or overwhelming responsibilities, at a time when they should be enjoying their own lives. Prioritizing your health and independence during retirement helps to preserve both your well-being and your relationship with your children, giving them the space to be supportive in a healthy, sustainable way. 7. Cluttered or overstuffed storage. When we accumulate possessions over the years, it's easy for things to pile up in attics, basements, garages, and closets. However, leaving behind a cluttered or overstuffed storage area for your children to deal with can cause unnecessary stress and frustration. These spaces can quickly become overwhelming, filled with items that no longer hold value or are forgotten about, making the process of sorting through them a daunting task. Your children may feel obligated to go through everything, trying to decide what to keep, donate, or toss, which can create emotional and physical stress as they work through decades' worth of accumulated items. The emotional burden of dealing with a lifetime's worth of possessions in disorganized storage can be significant for your children. Sorting through these belongings can trigger feelings of guilt, nostalgia, and even resentment. They may feel pressure to hold on to items that you once cherished, but that no longer have any practical use. This can lead to difficulty letting go of things, making the decluttering process feel even more overwhelming. The emotional weight of these decisions can create a strained relationship, as your children may struggle to balance their own needs with the desire to respect your legacy. Additionally, the physical burden of dealing with cluttered storage spaces can be draining. If items are crammed into boxes, bins, or closets in a disorganized manner, it may take hours, if not days, for your children to sort through everything. They might have to sift through old documents, broken furniture, or outdated electronics, all while trying to determine what to do with each item. This task could end up taking far more time and energy than either you or your children anticipated, leaving them feeling resentful and frustrated with the situation. One of the best ways to avoid this burden is to start simplifying and decluttering well before retirement. Take a proactive approach by regularly assessing the things you own and evaluating what you truly need or want to keep. If something doesn't have sentimental or practical value, it's often better to part with it sooner rather than later. Consider donating items that are still in good condition or selling valuable possessions that no longer serve you. The process of simplifying your belongings not only reduces the physical burden on your children, but also helps you live a more organized and stress-free life as you approach retirement. By taking the time to declutter and organize your storage spaces, you're setting an example of thoughtful preparation for your children. This will ensure that they don't feel burdened by a disorganized, overwhelming task once you've passed on. Instead of leaving them with a chaotic mess to sort through, your children will be able to honor your legacy in a much more peaceful and manageable way. The less clutter there is to handle, the more meaningful and focused the process of sorting through your belongings can be, leaving them with only the items that truly matter and have value. 8. Personal journals or diaries. Personal journals and diaries can hold years of private thoughts, reflections, and experiences that shape who we are. However, these deeply personal writings may be too intimate for your children to inherit. While your journals might be full of wisdom, memories, and emotions, they also contain aspects of your life that might be uncomfortable for your children to read. The private nature of these entries can reveal thoughts and feelings that might not align with the way your children view you, or may even create an uncomfortable sense of distance. In essence, passing down personal journals can sometimes place a burden on your children to navigate emotions and stories they might not be ready or willing to process. There's a real risk that your children may feel awkward or conflicted about what to do with your personal journals or diaries. They may worry about whether they should read them, or they might feel compelled to keep them out of respect despite finding them difficult or intrusive. The privacy of your thoughts could lead to feelings of confusion or discomfort, especially if your writings reveal secrets, struggles, or vulnerabilities you never shared with them. Instead of gifting them a set of journals that may feel like an invasion of privacy, it might be better to explore other ways of passing down your life lessons and wisdom. One way to ensure that your children inherit the most valuable parts of your life story, without burdening them with intimate details, is to share your lessons through conversations or recorded messages. Instead of writing down every private thought, consider documenting the key moments and experiences that shaped your life in a more accessible and less personal way. Create a life story video or audio recording that shares the wisdom you've gained, the challenges you've faced, and the lessons you've learned, without the risk of exposing highly personal content. This method can be much more meaningful for your children, as they can hear directly from you in a way that feels personal but not invasive. Additionally, you could consider writing a letter or creating a collection of essays that encapsulate your values, insights, and guidance for the future. This approach allows you to focus on the positive, actionable wisdom you want to pass down, while leaving out any content that might be too personal or painful for your children to read. By doing so, you create a legacy that's both accessible and meaningful, without putting your children in the uncomfortable position of deciding whether or not to read something too intimate. Ultimately, while personal journals and diaries serve as an important form of self-expression, they may not be the best way to pass down your life's wisdom to the next generation. Instead of leaving behind a collection of private thoughts, consider ways to share the lessons you've learned in a more open and approachable manner. This will not only help preserve your legacy, but also ensure that your children are able to engage with your experiences in a way that is both respectful and meaningful. 9. Negative memories. As we age, we often find ourselves reflecting on the past, including both joyful and painful moments. However, it's crucial to recognize that leaving behind old grudges, unresolved family issues, or painful memories can weigh heavily on your children. These unresolved emotions may linger long after you're gone and become a source of stress for your loved ones. If you harbor bitterness or unresolved conflicts, passing them down, whether through words, actions, or unspoken tensions, can place unnecessary emotional burdens on the next generation. Your children may feel compelled to fix these issues or carry the weight of your unresolved pain, even though they weren't part of those past conflicts. Holding on to grudges or negative memories can have a lasting impact, not just on your own mental and emotional health, but also on your relationships with your children and other family members. These unresolved issues can create a toxic environment that affects the way your children relate to each other. The emotional baggage from the past may create tensions, misunderstandings, or divisions within the family, making it difficult for future generations to truly experience peace and harmony. What's more, your children may find themselves stuck in cycles of blame or regret, not knowing how to let go of old wounds that you've left unresolved. It's important to understand that emotional closure is essential, not only for your own well-being, but also for the well-being of your children and grandchildren. By making an effort to heal old wounds, forgive past hurts, and let go of negative memories, you can help break the cycle of emotional distress that may have plagued your family for years. When you hold on to resentment or allow negative memories to take center stage, you're inadvertently teaching your children that holding on to pain is a way of life. This can perpetuate a legacy of unresolved emotions that your children may find difficult to overcome even after your passing. Letting go of negative memories is not just about forgiving others. It's also about creating peace within yourself. Emotional closure allows you to move forward with grace, leaving behind a legacy of wisdom and love instead of lingering bitterness. When you are able to release grudges, you free yourself from the emotional weight that can hold you back. This also paves the way for your children to experience healthier, more positive relationships with each other and with you. By resolving old issues and embracing forgiveness, you create an environment in which your children can thrive without the shadow of the past affecting their futures. In the end, emotional closure and letting go of negative memories is one of the most loving things you can do for your children and future generations. It ensures that they aren't burdened with unresolved issues that might otherwise hold them back. By taking steps to heal and forgive, you offer a precious gift, the ability to move forward with hope, love, and peace. This is a legacy that will endure far longer than any material possession ever could, and it is one that will greatly benefit your children's overall health long after you're gone. 10. Outdated or expired legal documents. Legal documents are essential to ensure that your wishes are carried out properly, especially after you pass. However, keeping these documents up to date is vital. Outdated or expired legal papers can create confusion, legal battles, or complications for your family members during an already challenging time. Wills, power of attorney documents, and healthcare directives must reflect your current wishes, relationships, and financial situation. If your legal documents are not regularly updated, they may not accurately represent your desires, leaving your children or loved ones to deal with the consequences of unclear instructions. One of the most critical documents to keep current is your will. A will ensures that your assets are distributed according to your wishes and helps prevent potential disputes among family members. If you've made significant life changes, such as getting married, divorced, or having children, your will needs to be updated to reflect these new circumstances. Failing to do so can result in your assets being distributed in ways you never intended, causing confusion and even friction within your family. Regularly reviewing and revising your will is an essential part of ensuring a smooth transition for your loved ones. Additionally, there are other legal documents that should not be overlooked, such as your power of attorney and healthcare directives. A power of attorney designates someone to handle financial and legal matters if you become incapacitated. Without a current power of attorney, your children or other family members may struggle to make decisions on your behalf, leading to legal complications. Similarly, healthcare directives ensure that your medical wishes are respected if you're unable to communicate them yourself. These documents should be reviewed and updated periodically to ensure they reflect your current desires and circumstances. To avoid leaving your children with outdated or expired legal documents, it's important to organize all your important papers in a safe and easily accessible place. Keep your will, power of attorney, and healthcare directives in a secure location, but also make sure your family members know where they are. A trusted family member or legal advisor should be aware of the location and have access to these documents when needed. By ensuring that everything is organized and up to date, you are preventing confusion and protecting your family from unnecessary stress. Finally, consider seeking professional advice from an attorney to ensure that your legal documents are valid and well prepared. An attorney can guide you through the process of updating your will, power of attorney, and other important documents, ensuring they comply with current laws and reflect your most recent wishes. By taking proactive steps to review and update your legal documents, you help create a seamless transition for your loved ones and ensure that your wishes are followed precisely, sparing your family from unnecessary burdens and complications. 11. Old clothing or jewelry with little value. Old clothing and jewelry often hold sentimental value, especially if they have been passed down through generations. However, when it comes to leaving a lasting legacy, these items might not hold much practical value for your children or grandchildren. While nostalgia attached to an old piece of clothing or a vintage necklace can be comforting, these items can quickly lose their significance as they deteriorate or become outdated. Clothes may no longer fit, and jewelry might not hold any financial or emotional worth to future generations. Passing down such items may end up creating clutter, leaving your children with possessions they don't really need or appreciate. It's important to consider the difference between sentimental value and practical value when deciding what to pass on. While you may treasure an old jacket or a family heirloom ring, your children may not have the same emotional attachment to them. the cost of storing or maintaining these items could become burdensome over time. Instead of passing on items with little long-term value, it's more meaningful to leave your children things they can truly benefit from. For example, savings, investments, or even real estate can provide them with financial stability and opportunities for growth, something much more valuable than a piece of outdated jewelry or clothing. Furthermore, old clothing and jewelry might not align with your children's tastes or lifestyles, making them less inclined to keep or wear these items. What you once cherished as a family heirloom might simply collect dust or be sold off without much thought. Instead of leaving these items, consider simplifying the process and gifting your children things that are more universally appreciated, like financial assets or meaningful experiences that create lasting memories. A legacy of practical gifts will carry more weight and appreciation than a closet full of items that may eventually lose their charm. If you're passionate about passing down something with sentimental value, try focusing on items that truly stand the test of time, things that hold deeper meaning beyond their monetary worth. You can preserve the memories of your past through thoughtful gifts such as a handwritten letter, a photo album, a family history journal. These personal touches carry much more emotional weight than material items that might not serve a practical purpose. Such gifts are far more likely to resonate with your children and grandchildren, as they provide insight into your life and legacy, something far more meaningful than a wardrobe full of unused clothes. In conclusion, while old clothing and jewelry might carry sentimental value for you, they may not be the most practical or appreciated items to pass down. Instead, consider leaving a legacy that provides tangible benefits to your children, whether through financial gifts or meaningful, lasting experiences. By focusing on more practical and meaningful gifts, you ensure that your legacy lives on in ways that truly matter, giving your children a foundation for success and prosperity rather than a collection of items that may hold little real value in the long run. Conclusion. As you prepare for retirement, it's important to carefully consider what you pass down to your children. Focus on leaving a legacy that provides practical value, emotional peace, and lasting memories. By avoiding these 11 things, you can ensure that your family's future is bright and free from unnecessary burdens. Thank you for watching. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to leave a comment below. Were there any items on this list that surprised you? Let me know your thoughts. Comment 9 if you agree with this list, or 0 if you have a different perspective. I'd love to hear from you. See you in the next video, and take care.